Frankie just asks him straight up, "Mike, why do you never say you love me?" And Mike, barely even turning his head, goes, "I told you I loved you the day I married you. If that ever changes, I'll let you know." That's it. Then he quietly puts his arm around her, she leans into him, and the scene rolls on. And this, by the way, is the very first episode, the pilot. The creators lay it all out, right up front, everything you need to know about this guy. He said, "I love you" once, checked the box, and figures the matter's closed for the next 20 years. And from that moment, everybody's got the same picture in their head. Mike Heck, the human rock. Zero feelings, shows no emotion. And instead of "I love you," his wife gets a grunt. A dry, quiet guy who loves his couch, loves silence, and loves being left alone. That's how we all remember him. The silent type, with seemingly nothing going on inside. Except there's this one tape, an old answering machine recording that Frankie digs up one day and plays for the whole house to hear. And on that tape, it's the same Mike Young bawling his eyes out, begging into the phone for her to take him back. Saying he's lost without her. Word for word, "I love you so much." The same man who can't squeeze those words out to his wife's face for 20 years once sobbed into an answering machine over her like a kid whose bike just got stolen. And this is where the whole picture falls apart. Because the real question, it turns out, isn't whether Mike can love and feel. Oh, we just heard him cry into a phone for Frankie. The question is something else. If this guy can crack like that and pour it all out, why does he keep his mouth shut the rest of his life? What's standing in him that's so solid it only breaks in that one single minute when he's truly scared of losing her? Hey Axel gang, so look, let's break down why Mike Heck can't just say 3 little words to his wife even though he's got a whole truckload of it inside him. And I'll start with the fact that he actually did say those words. Here's the thing. Everybody jokes that Mike never says "I love you" the whole show. And that's not true. There were at least 2 scenes where he says it flat out, plain as day. And that one fact makes the whole story way more interesting. First time, that same tape. It's the episode where Axel gets dumped by his girlfriend, and he's sitting there crushed because, you see, he's not allowed to cry, he's a man. So to show her son there's nothing shameful about tears, Frankie pulls out a recording that a young Mike once left on her machine after they'd split up for a couple of weeks early on. And on it, Mike doesn't just say, "I love you," he's literally crying along to some song on the radio, begging her to come back. "I'm so lost without you." Grown-up Mike, hearing this, wants the floor to swallow him whole. But the tape, there it is. Proof this guy can feel with everything he's got. Second time Thanksgiving. Frankie's upset that her own mom isn't coming, and she gets all worked up. Why does nobody in this family ever talk about their feelings? And she pushes on the heck men until Mike, forcing it out like he's pulling a nail with his teeth, finally tells his dad, "I love you, Dad." And then comes the most telling part of the whole scene. Big Mike doesn't say it back. He looks away and mumbles something about how the mashed potatoes turned out really good this year. His son, for the first time in who knows how many years, said the big words to his father, and the father hid behind a plate of potatoes. Remember this one. Because the whole key to Mike sits right there, in the scene where his dad pretended he didn't hear a thing. So let's be straight, Mike isn't broken. He's not some feelingless stump. He can say the words we saw it with our own eyes. So his everyday silence isn't a can't, it's a got trained that you shouldn't. And he got trained long before Frankie ever showed up in his life. And once you figure out exactly where that got put into him, it gets pretty hard to sit with. Let me just ask you flat out. What do you even have to do to a teenager to make him forget how to talk about feelings for the rest of his life? Here's what. Mike had a mother, Karen, and there's an episode where he finally talks about her, and that story leaves me a little uneasy. Mike's mom died when he was still a teenager. Cancer. She was only 42. And you know what his dad did the day after she died? Sent Mike to school, to do his homework, like nothing happened. The kid just lost his mom. And he basically got told, pull it together, go learn, and don't get all soggy on me. There it is. That's where Mike learned to swallow it all down and march on like nothing's wrong. He literally wasn't allowed to grieve. Not allowed to scream it out, cry it out, talk it out. He was shown by example on the worst day of his life that feelings are the thing you shove down deep while you go do your homework. And he learned the lesson for keeps. And this part matters. All of this happened to him as a teenager, long before Frankie. By the day he met her, the wall in him was already up, built, with locks on it. And now that same tape sounds completely different. This isn't some earlier still alive Mike from before he shut down. No. On that recording, he's already shut down, already trained to stay quiet. It's just that one single time, right at the edge when he really could have lost Frankie, his usual armor got ripped clean off. And if you think about it, for Mike, there's one person who can punch through his armor, and that's Frankie. And one detail here hits especially hard. Karen was the one in that house who gave warmth. Mike remembers how she'd sing and dance right there in the kitchen while she washed the dishes. How she'd bend down and let little Mike blow the soap bubbles off her hands. She was the warmth of that family. And when she was gone, it's like somebody switched the house off. Mike admits later that they didn't really talk about feelings at home even before, but after his mom died, it went totally silent. You see what happened? The one person who could have taught Mike to say, "I love you," out loud, no shame, left way too soon. And what was left was a dad with one instruction: go do your homework. After that, I just can't look at Mike's silence as plain personality anymore. It's not him being mean or lazy. The guy loves his family so hard it shakes him, but the one who could have shown him how to say it got taken from him at the most tender age. And add one more thing to that, the kind that's easy to miss. The house Mike grew up in after that was already a house with no woman holding the warmth. One quiet dad with his "don't get soggy" rule, and two boys who now had nobody to learn normal human words from. Mike didn't just lose his mom. He lost the one source of warmth in the family and got silence in return. Silence he soaked up every single day right up to grown. So when he later can't get talking with his own wife, he's not being difficult. He's just repeating the only model of a family he ever saw. The man works, stays quiet, keeps it all inside, while the softness stays somewhere in the past, along with the mom who sang in the kitchen. And even with all that, he still found a way to say it, just a different way. Think about how many times Mike said, "I love you," without ever opening his mouth. The strongest example is Sue, his favorite daughter. There's this moment where Sue's stuck on paying for college and Mike quietly sells off his half of the business, the one he started himself and loved. The family nest egg, just so his daughter has money for school. Frankie asks him, "How could you sell something you loved that much?" And Mike answers in just 2 words. "It's Sue." That's it. There's a whole confession of love packed into 2 words and into an act not every father is even capable of. And he's got a ton of stuff like that. In the very finale, he hands Axel his grandpa's old watch, fixed it up, and on the case he engraved the coordinates of their home, so his son never forgets where he came from. Just silently handed over a thing with everything in it he doesn't know how to say in words. And every single day, he just gets up at the crack of dawn, goes off to bust his back at the quarry, and carries this house on his shoulders for years. Sure, he grumbles while he does it, blows up at the mess, the bills, the kid, chaos, Mike's no sweetheart, and he can complain enough for 3 people, but he doesn't leave. Never. Whatever's going on, he stays, and he provides. And that whole "I stay, I carry, I sell the thing I love most for you guys" is the real "I love you," just said in a language we didn't learn to read right away. And here's the curious part, he didn't make this language up himself, he inherited it. And now it's time to come back to his dad. Because Big Mike, he's really not the villain he seems. His whole deal fits in one line. He keeps saying, "I don't want to be a burden to anybody." He's not cold out of spite. He's just the same breed that hides love in deeds, not words. He cares in his own way too, by the way. He'll dig a sink out of his stash for the kitchen, or get Axel up off the couch to help around the house. Meaning Mike didn't invent his way of loving in silence. He picked it up from his old man, took it on, like the last name. And the silence he took from the same place. Picture this, 3 heck men, Mike, his dad, and his brother Rusty sitting in a row in front of the TV in full, total silence. Not because they're fighting, it's just normal for them. That's the Heck family breed in its purest form. And to get how deep this "don't want to be a burden" runs in them, look at Rusty. The brother took the whole rule to an absurd extreme. His house burned to the ground. He was living in a tent in the yard of the ashes, and he didn't even call Mike to tell him. because he didn't want to bug him. And right here you can see how one and the same cold father shaped two very different sons. Mike locked his pain away, gritted his teeth, and became the one who carries. Rusty locked nothing away and just drifted through life like a wood chip. Same hardening, but it broke them in different ways. Mike chose to hold the line, and he pays for it by not being able to say simple words to his wife. This habit of loving in silence already trickled down into his own kids. Take Sue. There's a moment where she's leaving and she starts to feel like her dad isn't all torn up about it, which must mean he loves her less than Axel. And she's kind of got a reason to think it. Axel's closer to Mike in spirit, same sports, same temper, no question there. But Mike tells her straight, it's not that he loves her less, it's just he's been through this before. He already sent one kid off once with Axel. And now he knows what it's like, so he's keeping it calmer. For Mike, that's almost a confession. By his standards, those are downright warm words. And then Sue tells him flat out, I love you, Dad. And what does Mike do? He doesn't say it back, he dodges it and just hands the walkie-talkie to Frankie. There he is, the whole man in one move. When the words land and they need to come back out loud, he tosses the ball to his wife, the one who always says the feelings out loud for both of them. And then there's Brick. Quiet, always in his books, mumbling something under his breath, a little rough with people. And if you look close, Brick is in a lot of ways a little Mike. The same awkwardness with people, the same wall between himself and the world. The breed rolls right along down the same track, doesn't go anywhere. But here's the difference. The one that warms me up a little anyway. Nobody taught Mike to be a warm dad, and he still does for his kids what his own father never did for him. He shows up to their games, sits through goofy school plays, puts up with Brick's quirks, weathers the hurricane named Sue. Big Mike, on his darkest day, didn't spare his son like that. He sent him off to grieve alone at school. And Mike's at least there. Quiet, clumsy, but there. And maybe it's right there, on him, that the heck family cold cracks for the first time in a generation. And really, Mike went and married his complete opposite. Frankie's family, these are firework people. Loud, going in for hugs, dumping their feelings right out on the table. Her dad especially. This is a guy who wants a heart-to-heart, man-to-man every single week, dragging Mike out to these hangouts, ready to gab about life for hours. And these heartfelt talks burn Mike out so bad that at one point he tries to move them to texting, just so he doesn't have to sit eye to eye and talk feelings out loud. And for me, this is the best proof that it's not about personality or stubbornness. Mike's surrounded for years by people who freely say all the stuff he can't. A living example right in front of his nose every day. And what? Nothing. Mike still stays cold as ever. Because what got drilled into you as a teenager in a hushed house, you can't beat out of yourself with any chatty father-in-law. It sits too deep down in your subconscious. If you put it all together, here's the picture you get. Mike Heck, a guy the whole show serves up as a feelingless log. But really, as a teenager, he lost his mother. The only warmth in that house, got the swallow it and march on lesson from his dad, and shut down tight before Frankie ever showed up in his life. And when she did show up and nearly walked out, his usual armor got cracked one single time and he cried into a phone everything he normally keeps locked up. And that's why I now watch his scenes with completely different eyes. Every he gives back to an I love you. That's not him not caring. That's all he's got left of those words. Every time he silently fixes, drives, stays, sells the thing he loves most for his people, he's saying those 3 words again, just in the one language nobody took from him. The title of this video honestly is a little bit of a fib. Mike can say, I love you. He cried it into a phone for Frankie, forced it out to his dad at the table, explained to Sue that he loves her no less than her brother. It's just that almost all the rest of the time, he says it another way, without words. And now that you know what love sounds like for the Hex, you'll hear it in every episode. So stick around on Axel Gang. I'm putting together exactly where this quiet guy says, I love you, without ever opening his mouth.